I really call superintendents the Wi-Fi of the golf industry. Because as I ask people, and I'll ask both of you, have you ever seen Wi-Fi?
Nope. What a great analogy.
That's very
You
good.
cannot do a daggone thing without it.
Yep.
Just like you cannot do anything without golf course superintendents.
Let's maintain that turf today. Get up and brush off the dew on that turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Cut it and roll that dew on that turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Set up, they about to come through on that turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Get up. Let's get out the way. Here comes first play. Let's maintain that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Turf Today, brought to you by Toro and recorded on the Superintendent Network. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by my co-host Brian Laurent, and guys and girls, we have an excellent episode today. Let's go down and talk to Mr. Laurent.
Howdy.
What's going on?
Not much. You're racing around this morning?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's been
Just watching
weird.
some hockey and stuff then.
Yeah, did a little Olympics, cleaned up around the house. We had a big melt, so a whole bunch of stuff kind of melted all in the driveway, and then it froze. So big thing of ice. With that,
You got a hockey rink out there?
yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's why everyone has four-wheel drive in Canada, right?
You got it. Yeah, it's why we
Yeah.
all drive trucks and one of those things. So yeah, just getting ready here. Canada, U.S. women's finals, the gold medal. Be
Oh, yeah. What time's that
Exciting.
start?
I think it's 1:00. It's right now.
All right. Focus on the interview. Focus on the interview.
It's just the first period. I don't even care about that stuff, right? It's
Yeah.
watch the end
That's
of the game. Watch the end of the
Tune
game.
into the third.
Yeah, tomorrow's actually my 37th, so we had a few different things planned.
Ooh,
Big 3-7.
Look at you.
Yeah, buddy,
Getting up there, old
creeping up
man.
on the old 4-0.
Yeah, my wife's birthday's
37?
next week. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, go with that. Yeah, so
Nice February birthday.
Gotta start
It's a good-
planning.
It's a good one.
yeah. So
Dead of
what?
winter.
What's the big plan? What's the celebration?
Oh, we don't do a whole lot. Just a few different
Yeah.
things with my buddies around the city, and then we're just gonna do a pizza night here, I think, with my family. But
Nice.
a few buddies I haven't seen in a while, so a couple guys reached out and said, let's go for beers for lunch, or let's go out for breakfast, or let's go out and have
Beautiful.
hit a few swings in the simulator or something like that. So it's stacking up to be a bit of a busy day, which is the best way to do it.
Heck yeah,
Yeah, have some
absolutely.
pizza and cake with the kids later. My son was asking me what kind of cake I want. He had a little notepad. Hey, what kind of cake do you like? Icing. What kind? I said I like ice cream cake. He's looking at me like, what the fuck is that? How do we make that?
That's awesome.
Threw a curveball at him. So yesterday he came up to me. He said, I know where we're getting an ice cream cake from. And I was like, oh, okay.
He's spilling the beans. Oh,
he
I
doesn't
love
know
it.
any better. He's 4, so it's
Yeah,
just-
no.
Yeah.
So
no,
do you get like a diaper free day then, where you don't have to change diapers at all? Is that part of the plan?
No, my wife's really good about, cooking lots of stuff and having a bit of a party. She'll do a few little gifts and things coming from the South. They love to celebrate all their occasions. So she usually takes care of me on my birthday. But to be honest with you, she's taken the brunt of the load with our second child. Like she really, maybe it is because Nellie's a girl. I don't know, but Blake's done a lot more with her than I did with Will. And now it's because we have Will and he's running around as a 4-year-old. So I kind of have to keep an eye on him when she's dealing with her. So, but it's funny, like the older she gets, the more and more I fall in love with that little girl. It's just so wild. Such a different relationship than having the boy. Like it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be like the girl I love the most in my life.
It's special, huh?
So special. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, give it about 10 years until she
Starts talking back.
starts being a pain.
Yeah, no, we'll go through that stage for sure.
Sun's barely up, dew's still on the fairways, and the crew's already rolling. This is where mornings matter, and Toro delivers. From stripes that pop to cuts that stay true, Toro mowers bring power, precision, and reliability, day after day, and just like us, season after season. Less downtime, cleaner cuts, more time to make the course look elite. Because on a golf course, every pass counts, and when it's time to mow like a pro, you mow Toro. Toro, always solving, always evolving.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Fellas,
Craig, how are you, sir?
I am doing the best I can with what I've got. How are you?
Fantastic.
Outstanding. Well, this is Adam. Adam's the man, the myth, the legend behind Turf Today. So we are pumped to have you on here, Craig.
Oh man, Brian. First off, how's Lauren doing, man? Let me ask about what's important.
She is she's doing good, and apologies, my dog's freaking out back there, but she's doing great. She's doing great. So she's holding down the fort while I'm out having fun at all these golf courses.
Well, continue to have fun. All right, and Adam, you have fun too, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the biggest part of it. That's one of my favorite things about this industry is people work hard, but they certainly play hard too. And trying to find that work-life balance and all that's a challenge, but I think people do a good job of it as well.
Adam, I can tell by your smile, it's about life balance for you. Okay.
100%. Yeah, I was an athlete before and found I used to put a lot of pressure on myself. So these days it's nice to kind of be out on the golf course and enjoy life and not take things so seriously. So I really enjoy that.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, it's great to be with you all.
Yeah, glad you're able to join us here. And we always like to kick things off here. Just give you a little bit of time here to introduce yourself, Craig.
I am Craig Kirby, and as I tell people around the world, I am the father of a beautiful daughter, Hannah Grace Kirby. So that is my title of all titles. Hannah is a senior this year at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida, and she graduates May the 2nd, 2026.
Oh boy.
So
congratulations. It's exciting.
Thank you both. I am happy for her and happy that she's going to cross that part of her life. So that's my permanent title. Obviously, my other title is founder and CEO of Golf My Future My Game. And Golf My Future My Game is headquartered here in Washington, D.C. It's a foundation that works with underrepresented communities, and we bring them into the business and sport of golf. And so our focus is on creating strategic alliances for education and career development within the sport and business of golf. And our purpose, gentlemen, is to provide children from diverse backgrounds with a passport to the business world, all right, by piquing their interest, highlighting the economic, entrepreneurial, and employment opportunities so we can create pathways towards generational wealth and professional services and success.
So Craig, you are, and I was giving Adam a little bit of background, and we both kind of checked out your website and learned about you, but you're probably the most accomplished guest we've ever had on this show. So it's a little intimidating talking to a Harvard grad here, but if you could just give us a little bit more information about your background and then ultimately how you found the game of golf and how you were inspired to start doing what you're doing.
Sure. So born in Detroit, Michigan, raised in Dayton, Ohio, went to Albion College for undergrad. And it was at Albion that golf found me. I often tell this story. I was sitting in my house and these three friends of mine walked downstairs into the living room. And so they asked me, they said, "Hey, Kirby, we're going to go play a round of golf. Would you like to join us?" And, I said, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'll go," thinking they were just joking. Well, they get to the front door and they look at me and they're like, "Are you coming?" And I said, "Oh, you guys are serious." And they're like, "Yeah, so come on." So I get in the vehicle and we're riding to the golf course. I'm in the back seat, of course. And the three of them, they're laughing, joking, everything. I'm in the back seat saying to myself, what have I gotten myself into? Because I'd never been on a golf course, literally, ever. I mean, I passed a country club a minimum of twice a day growing up in Dayton, but just never thought I was supposed to go into that place. So, we get to the course and Craig Kirby, I got my out. I'm like, "Fellas, I can't play golf. I don't have any clubs." And they're like, "Oh, Craig, we're going to rent you some." And I go, "Okay, great." I'm like, "Oh my God." Now we're walking up to the first tee and I have zero excuses. So they go, "Craig, you're up." And I go, "No, it's got to be beauty before brains."
Nice.
And so, I mean, at that point in my life, I was an athlete. So I had some eye-hand coordination and I watched them and I did well enough where I hit that ball about 80 yards straight in the middle of the fairway. And I just kept it moving. I did well enough where they invited me back the next week. And so I'm on the seventh fairway. Never will I forget this. And a buddy of mine, Mark Fox, runs over to me and he says, "Craig Kirby, I did not know you played golf." And I said, "Yeah, Mark, I've been playing for a minute." And he goes, "Okay." And he says, "What are you doing this summer?" And I looked at him and I said, "Mark, I don't know. Why?" And he goes, "How would you like to work on a cruise ship?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, my dad just brought interest in this cruise line and we're looking to staff it up. And I figured if you like golf, you'd like the water." So I'm looking at Mark and I'm like, this is some crazy stuff. But Mark, whose pigment was not as strong as mine, I looked at him and I said, "Mark," I said, "I don't mean any disrespect, but the last time somebody like you offered somebody like me a free boat ride, that didn't work out too well."
Jeez.
And he looks at me like mortified. I'm like, "I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you." So, he says, "Dude, give me your resume." So I don't even know what a resume is. Literally, I'm a sophomore in undergrad. I go to the library, go to the Dewey Decimal System, look at what resumes are supposed to look like, make a copy of it, come back to my dorm room, type up my resume, and I give it to him the next day. He gets it, he folds it. I said, "No, dude, you need to look at this. All right. I've been up all night for these 5 lines." So he's like, "No, I got it. Bottom line, I ended up being the maitre d' on this cruise ship that summer. And that ended up being my undergraduate summer job. So sophomore, junior, senior year, I'm maitre d'. It was a great relationship because he was the head bartender. I'm obviously the maitre d', so I made sure he ate. He made sure I drank.
Nice.
You could not have had a better relationship or a better summer job. But that right there is a lot of the purpose and passion for why I do this work, because it offers opportunities that folks would never think about. And then, leaving Albion, I went to Amherst College, got a certificate in economics, and then, yes, I did go to Harvard to the Kennedy School for one of their executive leadership programs. So that was my formal education. But I will tell you all, earlier this week, I had a former boss who passed, and that boss was Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. And the work that he did back in the mid 80s, building the Rainbow Coalition, bringing folks into the world of politics that were locked out is really a lot of the work that I try to do now. I mean, this was a man who truly made a difference in this world. And so, you know, thinking about some of the lessons from him, it's really applicable to the work that golf course superintendents do. Because golf course superintendents, you know, they have to appreciate what they have instead of worrying about what they lack. And superintendents, I really call superintendents the Wi-Fi of the golf industry. Because as I ask people, and I'll ask both of you, have you ever seen Wi-Fi?
Nope. What a great analogy.
That's very
You
good.
cannot do a daggone thing without it.
Yep.
Just like you cannot do anything without golf course superintendents. I mean, golf course superintendents, gentlemen, they have master's degrees in disappointment, and they have PhDs in how to overcome.
It's fantastic.
It's just interesting how my life has all led to my work that I'm doing now. And I've been fortunate to meet great people who have been a part of our success and successes.
So going back into the golf industry, how did that all work? And, you know, how did you make it happen?
So I was in politics, Adam, for about 40 plus years, national politics. And I was fortunate to work at the Democratic National Committee under three chairmen, Ron Brown, Terry McAuliffe, and then Howard Dean. And then I ran campaigns all across the country. I also was assistant to the White House Chief of Staff in the Clinton administration. And my boss was Mac McClarty. So I was really fortunate to see the world. But after my White House experience, after my DNC experience, I then became a political consultant where I managed campaigns all across the country. And in 2007, I was going to manage the presidential campaign of then former Governor Mark Warner from Virginia. Well, in October of 2007, he decided that he didn't want to run for president. He just didn't have it in him. And so he looked at us all and he said, you know, I've probably messed your life up. What can I do to potentially help? And I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, you know, you kind of did, because I knew we were going to win this thing. But so I had a really dear friend, the late Mame Riley, and she looked at me and she said, Craig, you like golf, don't you? And I said, I do. And she goes, so why don't you have Mark call Tim? And I looked at Mame and I said, Mark who? Tim who? I said, what apostles are you talking about? And she goes, Mark Warner will call Tim Fincham. And no lie, I said, who the hell is Tim Fincham? And she looked at me like, are you being serious right now? And I said, no, I really am. She goes, Craig, he's the PGA Tour commissioner. And I went, oh, yeah, him, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
So I went to Warner and I shared with him what I'd like to do. And he said, well, you know what? Give me an overview of your ask and I'll call Tim. And that's what he did. And so this would have been November of 2007. And I went down to Ponte Vedra to meet with then Commissioner, PGA Tour Commissioner, Tim Fincham. And I just thought it was going to be a 40-minute meeting. Well, I ended up meeting with not only the commissioner, but with Ty Votal, Charlie Zink, you know, the whole executive committee, and Joe Louis Barrow also. And so if we remember at that time, the economy was tanking. And so, you know, these guys weren't concerned about diversity as they were just keeping their own pants up. But it was something that I did over the years. And then in 2014, as a matter of fact, that meeting, which was supposed to be 40 minutes, ended up being 5 hours. So it was all afternoon. Because again, I met with Ty, Charlie, the whole crew. Well, then 2014, Joe Louis Barrow calls me and he says, hey, Craig, are you still interested in your diversity initiative? And I said, yes, I am. And he says, well, I'd like for you to come and meet with me and a colleague of mine. And that colleague was Steve Mona, who at the time was CEO of the World Golf Foundation. So again, fly down to Ponte Vedra. It's also the same weekend as TPC. So I got lucky because I got to go to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I presented to these gentlemen why I wanted to do what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And I'll never forget, at the end of those 2 days, Steve Mona looked at me and he said, Craig, this is really kind of interesting how you want to do this. And I just want you to know, I don't have a check for you, but I will certainly give you an opportunity. And I looked at Steve and I said, Steve, thank you. I said, it's the opportunity that I want, that I'm asking for. Because if you give me the opportunity, the checks will come when they're supposed to, if I do what I'm supposed to do. And so that brought me into the world of the golf industry. Years later, let's say two and a half, I'm at National Golf Day, and it's the congressional reception. We're in the rotunda, and there's a gentleman behind me named Mark Jordan, a fellow Ohioan. And it's just the two of us in this cadaverous reception room. And I look at him and he looks at me and I said, hi. And he said, hi. And we just started talking. And he told me he was from Ohio. And I said, oh, so am I. And I asked him where he was from. And he told me, I said, oh, you're from that part of Ohio. And, we just laughed. But it was the beginning of a relationship and a friendship that to this day, for us, is very strong. And that's when I started learning about the work of golf course superintendents. And I just sat and I thought and I looked and I studied and I said, wow, these guys, these people are doing it. And so then I thought about my folks, my people who came to this country and also worked in fields and understood agronomy, understood turf science, not in a way that it was presented, but still had that understanding. And I said, you know what? This group of men and women I want to be a part of because, again, they're art makers. They create things that people have no idea how they're created. They wake up, they see things that other people just don't see. Golf course superintendents, their imaginations are so out of focus for focus. People come to a golf course expecting it to look the way it looks. That just didn't happen. And so because of that, that's when I realized that, wow, this really is something that I want to really be a part of. And not just me, but to work with the industry and enlarge it. Bring folks who look like me, especially younger people, into this world, into this business. Because, let's face it, workforce development is essential, it's important, but a lot of these golf course superintendents, they're aging out. And so you've got to find folks who have that acumen, that want to be creative, want to build, want to be outside, want to help others. It, for me, was a natural tie.
So much good in that short little response there, Craig, and so much that I really do want to dive into and get more into some of the work you're doing now. But you also said a couple things in there that really caught my attention as far as focusing on mentors and relationships. I'd love to hear a little bit about some of your mentors and those relationships and lessons learned from those people that have shaped who you are today.
Well, my biggest mentor is my dad. I'll just start with that. My dad is from a place called Rocky Mount, Virginia. He cut timber as growing up. He worked in a tobacco field. Same thing I did as a young man, which is why I decided I was going to go to college, because I'm like, this ain't happening for me. It's hot out here. But, to be able to have that foundation and then to meet people like a Mark Jordan, from Ohio, to be able to be a part of, and I call them the Connecticut Mafia. All right. I mean, Mark Weston, Rob Dortch, all these guys, they're a special group of guys and they're just real. I mean, they wake up every day, they work hard every day to give people choices and options. And so the Connecticut Mafia, Mark Jordan, to be able to be friends and colleagues with a Rhett Evans, all right, Kevin Sunderman, the board, Kevin Breen. I mean, I've been very fortunate to meet the leadership of GCSAA and to meet the rank and file. And the thing about it is, I enjoy being with both because it really is a family. I mean, they all care for each other. You know, we were just obviously in Orlando for the 100th anniversary, but Rhett said it again and again. Colonel John Morley, that dude was really special, man. You know, I mean, for him to say that no life is or can be self-existent, we depend on each other, dude, that's the honest to God's truth. And this family, this network really does depend on each other, and they push each other. And they all have their own talents, their individual talents, but those individual talents equal collective successes. And that's what I really get excited about. And again, why I want to bring a whole nother cadre of people whose perspective is completely different to work with a perspective that's known.
I love that. I love that, Craig. That's so important for our industry and everything we have going. We share that. That was important to me when I first started Turf Today, because I would tell my friends about what I do and they'd be like, "What? That's a job."
Right.
So it's something that we really want to focus on. And I love how you brought up Mark Jordan. You know, Brian and I are friends of his and have played golf with him, and he was telling us about you. And that was kind of the reason why I thought maybe you were a golf course superintendent, because you guys worked at TPC or volunteered at TPC River Highlands together. So just tell us a little bit about that experience.
So that was an experience, let me tell you, Adam. So, you know, as I go around the country talking to especially HBCU students about agronomy and turf science, I have always been a fervent believer. You can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you don't go. And so I called Mark Weston, and said, "Hey man, listen, you know, you guys got the TPC championship coming up. You think I could come up and work the week? Because I want to get a feel for what you really do." And he said, "Yeah." So, you know, he called Jason Kanata over at TPC Highlands, and Jason said, "Yeah, you know, let the guy come." So I'm coming up there having no idea how hard this was going to be. All right. You know, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go up and, you know, do this and do that and do that and do this. Man, they said we had to be there at 4:00 in the morning. Now, mind you, gentlemen, I get up at 4:00 in the morning anyway, because I'm an early riser. I like to get like a 5-mile walk in, but I had no idea it was going to be as intense as it was. But I get there. It was the greatest experience I ever had. I mean, to sit back and to see something come to life because a group of men and women at 4:30 in the morning got out there and did their thing. That was so special to me. And again, because I had that experience, Adam, when I now talk to our students, I can share with them not just a passion and a purpose, but an understanding of what it is I want them to get out of it. But I'll tell you, man, that first day, and I'm not embarrassed anymore about it. But that first day, I'm in this room, and there's a whole lot of people in there that don't look like me. And I'm looking up at the board, and my name is up there, and next to it, it says Fluff the Rough. And I'm like, okay. And I say to myself, what in the world is Fluff the Rough? But I refuse to ask that question in front of all these people, because I don't want people to be like, what the hell is this guy doing here? So, you know, we leave. It's about 4:40 now, and we're walking out, and I go to Mark. Mark, I said, man, what is Fluff the Rough? And he laughs. He goes, I'll show you when we get there. I'm like, okay, because again, I want to give my best. I mean, I want to be asked back that afternoon and the next day. So we get out to the green, and Mark has the rake. He goes, let me show you what Fluff the Rough is. So he takes the rake, and he's raking it. And I'm looking at him, and I go, dude, I said, that's like picking an afro. All right? I mean, Jesus. If they had said that, I would have been like, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. But I share this story because I was comfortable enough with Mark to ask, and he was kind enough to share. And so asking and sharing gives you what we have to get in this industry. From that point on, dude, I wasn't afraid to ask anything, because I'm like, you don't know unless you ask. But I'll tell you all this year, I'm going back to TPC Highlands, and I talked to Jason, and I'm bringing an HBCU student with me so that
Awesome.
they
Nice.
too can experience that. Because again, gentlemen, all it takes is one. I tell people all the time, it takes one sperm and one egg. We're here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that may be a little crazy, but that's just Craig Kirby. It takes one. That one is going to go back to that college campus and say, yo, did you know? And once they start talking, bam. Or as my fellows from New York would say, bada bing, bada boom.
I love it. We talk a lot and encourage young people coming up into this industry to make sure they're making the most of their opportunities. And I think a lot of that involves asking questions. You just brought it up. You maybe had a little fear of asking a question. How would you tell young people to maybe get over that mentality of being afraid to ask a question and just go for it? What advice would you have for them?
The first thing I would share with them is that everybody starts from someplace. All right. Everybody in the room that you're going to be in, at some point, it was their first day, first time also. And so you may not ask the question publicly, but hopefully you'll have somebody that you have a relationship with, that you can add, that you feel comfortable with, that you can ask. Because not only is this about access, but it's about comfort. It's about knowing that you also belong, and that just how they learned, you can learn. I mean, fellas, at any given point on any given day, we fit a category. We're either a teacher, a learner, or a doer. Everybody fits one of those roles. And so this might be your first time there. Listen, watch, figure out who you can ask, and then do it. That's what I would say, Brian. And also I want to share another thing that Mark and I have been fortunate to do is we developed a partnership with the Ohio State University and Wilberforce College. There you go. There it is. There you go. With agronomy and turf science. And so you've got students at Wilberforce that are able to take classes at Ohio State in the agronomy, turf science world. And I also have to thank Dr. Doug Karcher, because his efforts have been tremendous in making sure this is happening. But these students are able to take classes that they couldn't take at their school. And again, what does it do? It provides them an opportunity and access to say, oh, you know what? I can now talk to Adam. I can talk to Brian about so-and-so. Maybe I can get an internship or an entry-level position as a golf course superintendent.
Craig, talk about some of the programming and some of the initiatives that you are kind of spearheading in order to get more people interested in the business of golf.
So one of the things we do a lot of work, obviously, with golf course superintendents and Ryan Crosshofer, who's also on the board of
Yep.
GCSAA and First Green. So we've done a few First Green events here in Washington, D.C. at both Langston Golf Course as well as Rock Creek Golf Course, where obviously the golf course becomes a living laboratory. And that's our STEMA program. And I added 2 A's to include agriculture and architecture, because I also want these students to know, hey, you know what, you might one day design a golf course. So we do a lot of work with the Donald Ross Society. All right. We do a lot of work with Brandon Johnson, who is an African American golf architect. So we introduce Brandon to our kids so they can be like, oh, wow, I didn't even know you could do that. So we've got our STEMA program. We've got our Golf Who Knew, which is a general overview of the whole golf industry. I mean, we share with our kids the history of African Americans in the golf world. I mean, it didn't just start with Tiger Woods back in 1997. You know, you had John Shippen back in the day. Hell, you had Dr. Gordon Gant, who developed the tee. All right. So it's not like we've been not a part of this, but how do you share that history so that kids are like, oh, well, this, you know, I didn't realize all of this. So our Golf Who Knew, our STEMA program, we've got our Learn and Earn program, which is where we actually started a caddy program here in Washington, D.C. about 6 years ago at Langston Golf Course. And I'll tell you, gentlemen, I'm proud because we now have 3 Evans Scholars.
Nice.
All right. We got our first one 2 years ago. She's now in her second semester at Rutgers University, and we just got 2 others that were named the other day. One is going to go to Howard University. I don't know where the other one is going to go. But again, that's our whole Learn and Earn program. So we look at the industry, and I just segment it so that, okay, how do I find interest and effort? And then get them into it and say, okay, go do it.
So from the superintendent side of things or greenkeeper side of things, what can we be doing to raise more awareness, not only for what we're doing in turf, but the entire game of golf?
Being able to have conversations like this, Adam, I mean, being able for me to know that I could talk to a young collegiate student and or student athlete and say, hey, listen, you know what? I've got someone I'd like for you to have a conversation with. Call them. That right there just does wonders, because no one else has ever thought to do that. You know, at the end of the day, Adam, Brian, this is about 4 boxes that need to be checked. Wants and needs, needs and wants. It's that simple. The industry needs a workforce. The workforce needs a job.
Yep, very good. One of the conversations that I keep going back to, I saw you at the Ohio Room in Orlando, and we were talking about workforce development. And one of the things you said that really struck and stuck with me was it's about the messenger. You know,
Yes.
Talk about how important it is to have the right messenger, and how do we find that right messenger?
You know, the right messenger is the most, Adam, significant piece. And I want to share with you all a story. So again, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. I grew up as a Catholic. I'm a Black Catholic. All right. I moved to Washington, D.C. in 1984. In 1984, the Georgetown Hoyas under Coach John Thompson were dominating. You know, they had Patrick Ewing, Michael Jackson. They had that whole crew. And so I remember watching the TV and I'm like, wow, this has got to be really cool. So when I moved to Washington, my uncle asked me, he said, well, nephew, what would you like to do today? And I said, I want to go to Georgetown University. And he says, okay, so we go to Georgetown and I'm looking and I see all these people who don't look like me. And he goes, are you okay? And I said, well, yeah, I'm fine, but why are all these white people here? And he said, what? I said, isn't this a Black school? He went, why would you say that? Because if you remember back in the mid 80s, we had 3 channels: CBS, ABC, NBC. All right. What I saw on TV was a team of African American student athletes that were Catholic, just like I saw when I was in Dayton, Ohio at my elementary school, which was primarily African American. So it was not something that was out of the realm for me. I share that story because that's the importance of optics, but it's also the significance of a messenger. Somebody who looks like me is going to say, okay, well, I'll listen to you a little bit, as opposed to you two, because they don't know you. All right. And that's not a fault of yours. That's not a fault of anyone's. That's just the way life is. And so when you talk about messengers and messaging, our Golf Who Knew program, we have co-leads. I have an older African-American male or female that teaches the mechanics of golf. And that other co-leader is a white kid or a younger white person. And I purposely do that because I want our kids to see cultures working together, but also I want them to begin to feel comfortable talking with someone who's not like them, but they're learning. And so you go through 8, 12 weeks of a program, all of a sudden you're this kid from Detroit or from Dayton, and you're like, you know what, man, my friend Adam, he's cool, man. My friend Brian taught me so-and-so. And so it's now shattering whatever things they may have heard, because they can say, no. You know what? I got this white guy, Brian, he told me that I could do A, B, C, and D. And more importantly, he took me with him and we did it. That's the significance of messaging and messengers. And again, you can't teach what you don't know. You can't lead where you don't go. You've got to sometimes put yourself in an uncomfortable position to make it comfortable for someone else.
Very well said. And I'd love to ask you then about the kind of the golf courses. What would something the golf courses could do tomorrow to help really grow the game?
Again, allow folks who historically have not been a part of that world to come in and start learning. All right. I mean, to be able to talk to a golf course superintendent and say, hey, I've got a couple of kids I'd like to bring over. Can they just mirror you for a day? Because that day may get 2 days. That 2 days may get a week. And so, again, if you provide us the access, we'll give them the exposure. It's just a simple ask. And it's not like it's going to be anything out of a budget. It's just, hey, come and see what I do.
Craig, do you think the optics are still the biggest deterrent, I guess, for different cultures breaking into this industry?
I do. I do think optics is a really strong challenge, but I also will share that a lot of our younger folks, those optics aren't the same. And they're not the same because they see a world completely different than the world the three of us lived and or came from. So they're a lot more open to things that they don't know about. And they will also go and do things that they've never done before.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about the future of your program. What are you really hoping that kind of gets accomplished in the next 5 years, maybe 15 years down the road?
You know, for me, it's going to be having our kids have the access, but potentially having 200 golf course superintendents that are African American or Latina or Latino or people of color. Right now, I understand there's about 60 African American or people of color golf course superintendents in the industry. That's great. That's a good start. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was really surprised.
That's
higher
than I would have thought.
Yeah, I literally thought it was 7.
Yeah.
And when they told me 60, I'm like, what? And so
That's
we're
awesome.
now talking, and I say we, Mark Jordan, Kevin Breen, Jan Beljan, and Renee Powell are working with this group of golf course superintendents Because look at Clearview Golf Course. I mean, Larry Powell. I don't even have words for what he's accomplished. Now, how do you have a golf course and you don't have an irrigation system? And look at, I mean, I'm
magician.
like, really?
Yeah.
You know, what he and his sister have done, but what he has done as a superintendent for 75 plus years, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. And so how do we, again, share that with others to be like, oh, well, you know what? We can do so and so and so and so and so and so. So again, it's just access.
I don't want to maybe open up a recent wound here, but I know you're part of National Links Trust. I know there's some stuff going on there. What do you see the future of DC municipal golf?
Well, you know, for me, Brian, it's about accessibility and affordability. I mean, I don't care who owns it, who manages it. I just want to be able to have those two A's so that people can touch, see, feel, and then want. I mean, it's sad that it's happening, but it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad. I know Tim Zerbada's on Super Scratch Foundation, which I work with, and I'll need to have a sidebar with you at some point. But yeah, I know it's sad for those involved, and obviously an uncertain future. And I know there are some great plans in place. So hopefully that all works out for you. But
I hope so. And I'll tell you, if I can really quick. So
yeah, please.
We talk about gentrification because this is what this is all about. And again, I am not against gentrification. I may have even shared this when we were down in Ohio at that reception. What I am challenged with is gentrification without cultural integrity. All right. If you commit that cultural integrity to that growth, it's going to be a win-win. That's what we're looking for. And that's what I hope is going to happen. I mean, RFK Stadium is directly across the street from Langston Golf Course. RFK Stadium is about to be rebuilt. It's about to become a state-of-the-art athletic facility for professional football. That means that golf course across the street, greens fees that may have been $59, dude, they could be $4,000. I mean, you know, that's a stretch, but how do we, again, grow and grow?
Yeah, I hear it. As you've been getting, deeper and deeper into the golf industry, what maybe has surprised you the most about the industry as a whole, and what do you love most about it?
This thing that surprised me the most is just how slow growth really is. And what has surprised me also is the endurance and the perseverance of those who have been in the world that I'm now in to continue that fight. When you think of a Renee Powell, when you think of a Dr. Michael Cooper, when you think of a Legene Gould, Mark Lowry, Jim Thorpe, Lee Elder, all these folks were a part of something that was stagnant, but they didn't give up, they didn't give in. And because of that, there's always hope and a horizon for a better tomorrow. I mean, I had a high school football coach. This was when I was a star, and I could have played. No, I'm just joking. But
that knee injury.
That knee injury. It was that
knee injury. It wasn't even me. I just tripped over some ice. All right. I'm like,
hill parking lot injury.
Exactly, Adam. But he told me he would tell us as a team. He would say, you either get better or you get worse. And so, how does the industry get better? Where everybody gets better and everybody can win.
And growing the game is so huge. And you see some stuff online about, are we really growing the game, or are we all just talking about it? There's got to be some really tough conversations that people are having to be able to move it along. But I think it's important. I would love to ask you, Craig, just knowing what you know now and kind of going through all of this, if you were able to go back, do you think you might have ever gotten into golf course maintenance or something like that?
I certainly would have. I will tell you, Adam, that I don't have many regrets. But had I known 40 years ago that I could have been a chemist, an artist, and a business person, I'd be a golf course superintendent. I mean, if you're able to figure out one fungi, dude, you can travel the world
That's a good
and treat
point.
that fungi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. One bug, right? A solution to
Yes.
one
Yeah.
bug.
Yes. You know, so yes, I would have. And again, I think that's also why I'm so fervent about giving kids these opportunities and these options. I mean, I tell the kids all the time, you know, I wake up every morning to give kids options so they can make choices. And I do that because for the most part, gentlemen, we come into this world looking like our parents, but we leave looking like our choices. If I had known that, dude, yeah, I would have been in golf course super. I could be outside all day. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yep. Some of the greatest environments there are. That's awesome.
Right.
I want to know, when you go into an HBCU and you're getting ready to talk to students and you say, I'm here to talk about golf, what is the reaction, the response that you get from some of those kids?
It's a glazed eye. They're just like, golf. What is that little white ball that you hit? And I'm like, yes, it's that little white ball that you try to hit.
That's
I
right.
didn't tell
For the
them.
rest
I
of
said,
your
"Look,"
life.
right. I said, because you know what you don't realize is that golf is an endless series of tragedies obscured by the occasional miracle. But it's that miracle that brings you back time after time. You know, you're gonna laugh at this, not this summer, but yeah, last summer. I'm sorry. So you know, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and when I was in high school, Keith Byers was in high school also. So Keith and I are a year apart. So we're playing golf over at Miami Valley Country Club, and when I tell y'all my round sucked, it sucked. But I birdied 14. That's all we talked about
That's
that
it.
afternoon. I'm like, Keith, I said, you know, was that 14 that I got that birdie? Yes, Craig, it was 14. Right. Can't talk about the other, 17 holes, but that was my miracle. So
Keeps you coming
yeah.
back. We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Joseph Alver. Best spreader on the market today?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, Adam. And thank you, Joseph, for submitting another great question. And obviously, a little bit of a loaded question. And obviously, I'm a little bit impartial to our own SR2000 Pro. But no, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, whether it was the Scott's R8 unit, which was kind of the original, if you will, one that obviously the Andersons has progressed over the years to become the SR2000. Really, I'd say that the things that set it apart are the helical cone technology and that ability to kind of put the fertilizer prill specifically on the impeller where you need to. Quite often when done right and matched with the right size particle, you can get a perfect 50-50 spread distribution. And especially when we're talking really small microgreens fertilizers and ultra low bent grass or Bermuda grass, right? Having that precision is really key. So again, that's the best part about that one is you can really get it dialed in 50-50. It's a high quality unit, all stainless steel, all things that I would always look for and something that, kind of build in for a lifetime purchase or, going to have around for quite some period of time. And then, yeah, outside of that, I think, can you find other units and other potential spreaders that will fit the job? Absolutely, but there's going to be very few of them that you're going to see have been market tested and around for 25, 30 years in superintendent's hands like the SR2000. So that would be my my choice for the day for sure.
Yeah, we love our Anderson spreaders, and my biggest tip, I've been using them for years. All different types, all different brands. Just keep them clean. That's the biggest thing. That's
There you
going to make
go.
them last,
Yep.
and it's going to make your rate, be a lot more proper than if you're just keeping them gummed up or anything. So keep them clean, just like keeping those reels sharp. All right, thanks a lot, Tony. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
you've been around so many great leaders. Golf course superintendents themselves are leaders by nature, leaders of teams. What advice do you have for those individuals in those leadership roles for getting the most out of their people?
Just to continue to continue to understand and appreciate that just because your feet are lower than your eyes, that doesn't mean that your feet are worse off. Your feet take you where your eyes see. And that's what these superintendents understand. They understand that it's a total body effort. And that's what's so valuable about them. I mean, again, just a special lot of people, a significant group that not only cares about their work, their product, but cares about those individuals that work with them. That's really special.
100%.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to thank you today for coming on the show and being a part of this and teaching us some stuff, hopefully our listeners some stuff. I think it's been great. And, I'm from a city that's very multicultural, being a capital of Canada. There's a lot going on here. And my kids go to school with kids from all over the world. And I still see division sometimes. You still see people not talking to each other or not getting involved in certain things. And, I always wonder about the future for my kids and hoping that, things are more of a collective movement and people are doing things as one. So I really appreciate what you're doing for our industry. And I think it's huge hearing that there are more men and women of color getting into our industry and being a part of it. What is one thing that you would like to see change in golf culture?
The opportunity for everybody to understand how great the game is and how great are the people that make the game is.
Beautiful.
That's the key right there. I think everyone we talk to, the favorite part of this industry is the people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what carries us on and what will continue to carry us on. So this has been great, Craig. We always like to close these by just giving you an opportunity to kind of finish things off. If you have anything you want to add to this episode, anything you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
I do. I thank you. Thank you for giving me the dance floor. Brian, Adam, thank you both for what you're doing. I mean, your commitment, your efforts, your energy, your enthusiasm, it's noted. So continue to do what you're doing because you really are. You're making a difference. I mean, people are listening to you. People are understanding how valuable, again, this industry is for you all and what you mean to it. So, if I could get an A and a B when I was in school, Brian and Adam and Brian, keep it up.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's great.
Beautiful. How can people learn more about Golf My Future My Game, Craig?
Oh, they can go online to www.golfmyfuturemygame.org or just Google it, look it up, call us. We've got folks that would love to chat with you all about our work. And you know what? Hopefully have you become a part of it. I mean, the more the merrier.
Is there expansion going on? So if someone may not be DC based, can they get involved in California or wherever?
They are. Yes. I'm sorry. So we're headquartered here in DC. Thank you so much, Brian. We've got programming in Detroit, Michigan, Dayton, Ohio, Durham, North Carolina, Montgomery, Alabama, and we're about to go into Itabena and Greenwood, Mississippi. And we're also in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm sorry. Did I say Montgomery?
I think you did, but that's okay. Now, twice people in that area are going to know. So it's beautiful. That's right. Well, hit me up. Let me know when you're coming back to Dayton. We'll make sure we tee it up. That's 45 minutes away from me right now. So that's perfect.
I most certainly will. I can tell you, what, it might be a little too cold for us, but I'll be back there March the 16th and 17th for the first four.
All right. Let's
play golf in colder, don't we?
Oh gosh, yeah, no, I'm not doing that again. Yeah. We had the experience with Mark Jordan during the GCSAA championships, where I think the wind chill was 28 degrees. So no, that was that's as cold as I've ever played golf, and don't care to do that again, but that's
silly.
okay.
We'll be back in the summer, so I'll see you.
Yeah, it's perfect. No, the first 4 sounds like fun. And I did that with Lauren, and I did that a couple of years ago. It's an absolute blast. I mean, it's a great way to kick it off, isn't it?
Yeah, it really, really is. I had a wonderful time. Had a great, and I took my dad, and it was just, we had a great time.
Yeah, good. Awesome.
That's
well,
awesome.
Craig, this has been fantastic.
Hang on a second here, boys.
Appreciate you.
Craig,
Oh,
one more thing here. I've been thinking about this whole interview. You know, if you could go back to that turf shop where you saw your job title and didn't know what it was, if you ever thought about, man, I really should have just asked that question in front of the group, or is that something that you would never want to do or see yourself do? I feel like if you were able to make that Afro pick joke in front of everybody, that would have been a heck of a way to kick everything off, and you might have ended up with a different nickname.
Great. First off, great question, and the answer is yes, because I'm going to lead with that this summer when I'm there. I'm going to share that story.
Fantastic.
How, you know what, I was really afraid, but once I realized it, I was like, dude, really? So, yes. So I was able to break through the door.
I love it. Yeah, nice icebreaker. So good stuff, man. With Craig, this has been fantastic. Please, if there's anything that we can help you with, don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to help spread the word and do whatever we can to help this program. It's certainly a worthy cause, and wish you all the best with it.
Brian, Adam, thank you both so much.
Oh, thank you, Craig. This was fantastic. I thought you did a great job.
Thanks, man. Y'all take
All
care.
right. You see you, Craig.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, this is Mike from Standard Golf Company. From custom flags to the unmatched precision of our Hammer Strike hole cutter to fully customized laser cut tee markers and durable maintenance tools, and so much more, our team has been proud to support superintendents and golf pros all around the world.
That was a quick hour.
Wasn't it?
42 minutes. I looked up. Oh, what?
I know. I could sit there and talk to, and I've been very fortunate to interact with Craig at various functions over the years, and it's just he's so engaging. He, heck, he started off by asking how Lauren was. It's just and it's a person that I've interacted with probably a dozen times over the years, but for no more than 30 minutes at a time max, so just, I want to know if he's got a notebook somewhere, just kind of, jotting things down.
Just got one of those memories, maybe. Some
so
people
good.
just can't forget that stuff. Whereas,
he's so good.
Very, very good. And it's funny because he has a background in a lot of different stuff, but for whatever reason, I still thought he worked at the golf course. He thought he had maybe years previous he was on the golf course and then went back to school or something. So I could not connect those dots.
Yep.
So he was volunteering at that tournament, just regular guy.
Just regular guy trying to figure out what this is all about. What am I
doing with this rake? Okay.
Yeah.
So that story makes so much more sense now, because it was like, well, what do you mean the superintendent went down there and did not fluff the rod?
Yep. No. He just kind of came in, obviously for what he's doing and spreading the word to, a different culture, different group that may not have exposure to it like others. He's puts his money where his mouth is, right? I mean, he wanted to get in there and see what this is all about. And I think he's hooked.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he can bring somebody with him this year and maybe more people next year, and then who knows what it turns into, right? Like there's a lot of different programs like that in golf, in sports. So more awareness and more people, more different people with different skills and things like that's going to help us. Yeah. And there's so many opportunities overseas and all over the world too, right? So getting people involved where they could travel and see the world by just working on golf courses.
Yeah. No, I mean, heck, I've tried to tell my kids, try to tell them, like, guys, you can go anywhere in the world with this industry. I mean, heck, we talked to Mike O'Keefe, who feels like pretty much every golf course in Dubai is managed by someone that came from the Ohio program. I mean, guys are going all over the world for internships or, full-time work, whatever it may be. It's limitless what you can do with this game.
I loved his passion for what we do. It's not often we get an outside look at what we do, right? It's usually just people that have come into the industry and fallen in love with it or grew up around it and have always been a part of it. But there's lots of people that leave the industry for other reasons, whether it's money or the challenge of schedules and things like that. But it's really nice to see that somebody from the outside is recognizing it and going, this is really cool. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can help get some more people involved.
It's a great, we talk about it time and time again. It's a great industry, and unfortunately, I think a lot of well, not all of them. Obviously, there's a lot that happens that's outside or out of your control, a lot of people's control. But a lot of times, like Mark Jordan said recently, we tend to focus so much on the negative, and we such perfectionists really in this industry and put so much pressure on ourselves. That oftentimes, kind of drive ourselves out of it. The
one thing I was going to ask him about was something that I keep getting messages about. It's like yesterday we posted two different, one was a picture and then one was a video of different autonomous bunker rigs, right? Some people love it. They think it's really cool. It's going to save them money, blah, blah, blah. Other people are like, this is stupid. They're going to take our jobs. They're just trying to replace us and all this. So that was something I wanted to ask him about, is that we are trying to raise awareness and trying to get more people into this industry because there is shortages and things like that. But then at the same time, we are also developing all these technologies that are going to replace some of these jobs. So, where do you kind of see some of that stuff crossing, and how is it going to kind of affect everything? So that was one of the things I was going to ask him. I think it's wild how we're kind of coming at it from both sides. We're trying to solve the problem by using technology, but then we're also saying to people, well, we need more good people, and there's so many opportunities. So I don't know. I think you really want good people, so that way you are going to be able to get better people and hopefully pay them more and take care of them and their families and things like that. But yeah, I mean, if you have autonomous bunker rigs and you got mowers out mowing everything and you got drones out spraying everything, eventually it's going to be like, all right, like how many people actually have to be here on the property? And now we're actually cutting jobs. So we are working at it from both sides. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I see it as meeting a need. Obviously we talk a lot about the shortage of people, but I think those things are going to need people to steer them in the right direction. Those things just don't show up at a golf course and automatically know where to mow, know where to rake, do all those things. So people are going to ultimately need to manage those. You're always going to need people that are able to diagnose issues, to be those problem solvers and come up with solutions for what's going to happen. And that's, I don't know. I mean, yes, AI is getting smarter and smarter, but until AI starts diagnosing and running spray sheets and mixing tanks, I don't know. There's always going to be a need for the people that are skilled technicians and skilled golf course superintendents to develop the programs and put the plan of action in place. A lot of the other autonomous solutions are just that. They're solutions, right? I mean, there's a problem, there's something you can be more efficient with, then let's do it. There's plenty of other jobs that aren't able to be managed through autonomous technology yet. Mm-hmm. So it's an opportunity to maybe be a little more, find more detail work that, is going to make a difference on the property. There's always something for people to do.
It's always going to evolve. The best argument I've seen about it was the auto body plant, right? So you're building a car, you build a car, and it used to be just people. And it was just a factory full of people building every little part, assembling the car on the assembly line and putting it all together. And now it's mostly robots that's putting it all together. But where the people are working is in the design and the technology and all the different things that are going into the vehicle. They're just not building it. So it's changed, it's evolved. And I think we will still need these jobs in our industry, and there still will be people. But how many people are actually going to be walking the golf course every day or actually manning that shop every day? I don't know. So that's where it's difficult, because it's like, come work for us. But might not happen, or you might have to do something different. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's gonna have to kind of wait and see.
Yeah, it might not be our lifetime.
No,
There are a
no.
lot of golf courses out there that are a long ways away from getting full autonomy and things like that. So, or maybe
Yeah.
there'll be properties that'll say, fuck that. We're not even going to ever bother. We want to have
Yeah.
people out here. We want to have people involved in the course and things like that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, this has been another good one, man. Great work.
Another very good one. Yeah, 100%. Okay, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah. You too. Take care, man.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us. This was an awesome episode. Thank you so much to Craig Kirby for giving us some time. This is the non-golf course superintendent, Craig Kirby, we're talking about. So finally figured that one out. My gosh, Adam. But I want to say, Craig, I think you will be responsible, though, for a lot more golf course superintendents to come in the future. So don't feel bad about that. You have a very important role in this industry. You're doing a fantastic job at it. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of that and our industry. Oh, so exciting. The other thank you we need to give out here right now on the show is to all the listeners that keep reaching out. Sometimes I feel like we do a bad job of actually saying thank you. We try and answer all the messages we can, try and be there to help connect people and give you answers and, be there for you. But at the same time, I feel like we do a bad job of saying thank you. So we really appreciate it. We've heard from a lot of people lately. We love all of the criticism, the constructive criticism, the good things, the bad things. We love it. It's all a part of growth. It's all a part about working as a community and working together. So continue to put out good content, shed light on our industry, show your friends what you're doing, be happy about it, put a smile on your face, because that's what matters. Who cares what you're doing? The fact that you're enjoying what you're doing is the most important part. And we, like we always say, are the lucky ones. We get to be out on the golf course, enjoy our lives when other people are stuck in traffic or stuck at an office or doing whatever they have to do. It's not for us. We get to enjoy this life. So thank you to all you. Keep pushing the industry forward. Thank you to all our sponsors and everybody that supports the show. We have another great one coming next week, so make sure you keep those reels sharp.